Yo, what up? It's your boy Solo Rebel, and we about to get into some shit after I play this music. It's called Right My Wrongs by Mooney Mercury. It's in the EP project by Mooney Mercury and produced by me. So let's get into it right now. If I'm at the top two or top three, favorite.
Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong. And I hate to admit it, but I've been fucking up. Let me stop myself before I do more harm. Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong. I really hate to repeat the same old mistakes. Full of regret, I wouldn't do it again. Wouldn't trust me if I could not change. Wouldn't blame you if you went your own way. You can't count on faith when dealing with people. Finding a good person like winning a lotto. Somehow, someway, you end up with a loss. So apologize for playing out demons I cannot hide. Wasn't aware of how I was coming on. Looking like a fool, I thought I was so smart. Had to sit myself down, Mooney, you ain't shit, man. Need a reminder like a damn affirmation. Had to check myself all the way to the baggage claim. Ego boost get shot down, burning plane. Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong. And I hate to admit it, but I've been fucking up. Let me stop myself before I do more harm. Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong. Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong. And I hate to admit it, but I've been fucking up. Let me stop myself before I do more harm. Let me correct myself and remind myself I'm wrong.
And that song is fire. That's a song of accountability. Whoever hears that shit, whatever they're dealing with, that's the level of accountability they're gonna have to deal with when they listen to this song. Now, but this shit is fire. This shit is probably like my top second or third favorite. My second favorite would probably be maybe Radioactive Reaction or Question That. I don't know, they're like very close. But let's get into the topic. And the topic is gonna be life should be taken sacred, should be looked as sacred, and not doing whatever you want and being animalistic and demonic. So we have a system here that made everything disorganized and created a lot of retardation, mental illnesses, way of life, just by not having the people who run the country or the world and the descendants of the colonizers that destroy the natives and the spiritual system, and they're giving you watered down versions of what they're doing, how they're creating their reality, how they're experiencing reality, and that's just not knowing better of who they who they are, and taking care of nature, which is just common sense. When you have humans who are able to have logic and reasoning, and able to come up with ideas and solutions, how to have common sense and emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence wouldn't be what it looks like now, based on our events and circumstance, and how they're letting things slide when it comes to how they run the country. So this goes down to the governments and all of the humans who operate on this systematic program of survival, and not having enough time to soul search and find, go past their belief in which how they think reality is based on what they learned through the educational system, and the overview concept of how the government is presenting NASA, space travel and all this bullshit. This gets deep. We have a lot of people who are into science and, this truth and everything, but everything came from an organism. An idea came from an organism, a template came from an organism. It all came from a mind, the human mind. And, when we look at reality in life, we're supposed to look at it simple. Everything is alive. There's a shape and form that took an awareness to become, existence, to become physical. We're doing this in our dreams, spiritually, but when you see the physical realm, you see things coming into awareness, and something is evolving and expanding, and that's the simple cycle mechanism that people need to be aware. And this is just this is a reality that's growing and expanding. Life, death, rebirth, evolution. That's it. That's how this is what we're all doing together to create our reality. We are spirits resonating in the same space and creating our awareness based on evolutionary experience, and we're just evolving and adapting and coming up with new awarenesses and how to do things. And when you have a system here trying to control, trying to see it in how they get lost in the ego, they don't know the simplicity of it. They get lost in their emotions or how they think they are in their ego or whatever. And you're getting lost in the world because, like I said, we're creating our experience from within, your thoughts and feelings. Not to get lost in words and language and put limitations on these things, but these are mechanisms of expanding and going in. You're producing an idea, an imagination, an awareness, and that's what you're jumping into. The spirit is jumping into that world, and it's creating that world. Your mind is your masculine, your internal emotion is your feminine, and this is how you create before it becomes physical. Before masculine and feminine becomes physical, you have a masculine and a feminine energy, and that's how we're doing things in the dream realm, spirit realm. It's the same thing as this physical shit. It's just more dense. Its density is heavier because we made it this dense. Whatever ego, narcissism, desire, or whatever you're passionate about, whatever vision spirits got lost in, this is what we're in. This is what we have to get out and elevate each other and elevate our awareness so we can see the sacredness of life. Not get lost in after the fact, how we lost the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. Shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man, Archangel Uriel, um, the native awareness and knowledge of how we're self-creating ourselves, and now we're creating all these circumstances like jobs, money, trades versus trades, coming up with what's fair or not, solutions, evaluations, then whatever business money was created with the resources. Yeah, so we create our experience, and then we make the resources out of the experience. As spirits, we emanate nature. We are the nature itself. But spirit expanded already, and we're adding on to our reality. And life should be looked at sacred, not something to take advantage of, or just getting in while it's good or whatever. Because you're supposed to look at yourself and see that just this intelligence is you're supposed to look at it as this intelligence is supposed to be taken seriously, like sacred. It's sacred. You're not supposed to just be goofy and barbaric, trolling. It's not supposed to be like that. You could have fun. So we should have fun. But when people get lost in too much fun, that becomes demonic and not you forget to look at it as sacred, like taken seriously, or you just don't care. You just you get what I mean. It's just humans have to evolve into a different, past their awareness of what they have been, growing into as a child, based on traditional family, religion, and all these, philosophies and teachings of whatever you think it is. There's a lot of spiritual systems there that I went through literally all of them just to get to the point that I am right now. And there's a lot of biases and programs that you have to detach from, just to make it simple. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be looked at as relatable. Reality is supposed to be looked at as relatable and coming together as a community, not in a systematic oppression government. Everyone is out for themselves type shit, and everything's in chaos. That's not unrelatable, and that means everybody is doing something wrong. They think they know it. They're in the ego. They're in narcissistic mode, and they all think they have it right, but they don't have it right. So something's wrong. Like something, you have to look in the mirror. You have to look in the mirror. So, and you have to look within. That's the mirror. You have to look your internal, your emotional waters. What do you feel like is real? What do you believe in? And why do you believe in it? Does it make you comfortable? Is it right to think like that? There's higher awarenesses to tap into, and it's not about going crazy, because if you believe in yourself, you can handle it. And that brings more awareness, that brings you closer to God. But you have to look past the biases. And we have a lot of people here who get lost in biases and indoctrination just for being comfortable in these things. And they don't question what's outside of them because they're lost in the flesh. When you get comfortable, emotionally comfortable, in how you're constantly aware of your living style or idea based on money and all these things, because you got to think about it. if you, for religious folks or whatever, people who believe in a greater power, if God was to come here, it will come here pure and tell you straight up. It's not gonna care about money or desires or shit like that, material. There's spirits here who's been longer than a lot of people that have to come through a vessel, a human vessel, so they could tell you what it is, the truth. That's just how it is. Why wouldn't it be that way? If it wasn't, then you'll all be fucked. You're already fucked, but you'll be more fucked. So yeah, it's like, do humans have an ego when it comes to thinking that's not possible? Because why wouldn't it be possible? Why wouldn't it work through human? You just have to look at it like that. You just have to look at it. There's always going to be a higher intelligence, higher awareness, a stronger spiritual presence within the atmosphere that we are in. And this is how the Great Spirit comes in all life forms, because all life forms have to have a higher awareness, intelligence on how to guide their species or whatever. So yeah, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. I had something in mind, I think, but I forgot. But yeah, people need to look at life as more sacred and not self-serving, not too selfish, because it ain't about you. And since you make it about you, everybody, it makes shit difficult if nobody is in a community, in a one-minded, if nobody's on the same page on how to help run each other based on how we should make things healthy in the world or community, boycott all these companies, McDonald's, all these retarded poisons all these retarded foods that's poisoning your body and creating mental illnesses to the point where they don't even realize they have mental illnesses. This goes with, all types of biases in religion. You have to get spiritual. You can't be in an ego, because what has those biases done for you anyway, besides being an ego or think you know somebody more, and you're still doing the same thing everybody's doing, just getting a job and getting crumbs. That's it. Nobody's being relatable. Nobody's doing anything with the knowledge. They say they space traveled, but you're still here working on Earth for the past. When they discovered space, they say early in the late 1800s or early 1900s. I don't remember, but you get the point. So this is a spiritual reality we have to be aware of. And yeah, you have to go within, and it's all about meditation and looking past what you see in the physical realm, because we're all using the same tools, our thoughts and feelings. Everything has that thought, everything has an awareness, the mind, and the internal feelings, the emotions, the vibrations, and that's what's creating our reality. All species have these all the species have this mechanism, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Peace.